The child was dying. Marcus knew death when he saw it. 20 years patrolling the outer colonies taught him that much, but he'd never seen anything like this. A creature no bigger than his forearm, silver-skinned and shivering beneath the overturned cargo crate. Purple blood seeped from cuts along her arms. The rain hammered down, turning the alley into a stream of rust-colored water. He should have kept walking. Protocol was clear. Non-human contact required authorization, quarantine procedures, diplomatic clearance. The paperwork alone would take weeks. The creature's eyes opened. 4 of them, arranged in a diamond pattern across her face. They were black, endless, and utterly terrified. Her mouth formed a shape that might have been words in a language older than human spaceflight. Marcus knelt. The rain soaked through his jacket, but he barely noticed. "Easy," he said, though she couldn't possibly understand. "I'm not going to hurt you." She tried to crawl backward. Her leg dragged at an unnatural angle, broken. The movement brought a whimper so human it made his chest tighten. He'd seen children die before. Human children. During the Outer Reach massacre, when raiders hit the civilian transport. He'd held a girl about this creature's size while she bled out, whispering promises he couldn't keep. The memory still woke him some nights. Not again. Marcus pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around the tiny alien. She was cold, temperature dropping fast. Hypothermia, maybe, or shock? He couldn't tell which. Her anatomy was wrong. Joints in unexpected places, organs that pulsed visible beneath translucent skin along her ribs. "I've got you," he said. She bit him. Sharp teeth, designed for something other than human flesh, tore through his palm. Blood mixed with rain. Marcus grunted but didn't pull away. Fear made creatures bite. He knew that. The alien child's eyes went wide. She released his hand and made a sound like breaking glass. Distress, Marcus thought, or apology. Her small fingers touched his wound, and she trembled harder. "It's okay." He lifted her carefully, cradling her against his chest. She weighed almost nothing. "Let's get you somewhere dry." His apartment was 14 blocks away. The medical clinic was closer, but they'd ask questions. They'd take her, process her, lock her in quarantine, while bureaucrats decided her fate. Marcus had seen that process. It was slow and cold and didn't care about broken legs or purple blood seeping into the rain. He ran. The streets were empty. Midnight on a colony world meant most people were inside, avoiding the acid rain that corroded everything it touched. Marcus felt it burning through his shirt, eating at his skin. The alien child pressed against him, silent now except for rapid breathing that sounded like wind through hollow reeds. His apartment building loomed ahead. Marcus took the stairs 3 at a time, ignoring the elevator. Cameras in the elevator. Questions he couldn't answer yet. Inside, he laid her on the kitchen table. The overhead light revealed details the darkness had hidden. Her skin wasn't just silver. It shifted, patterns moving across her surface like oil on water. Her 4 eyes tracked his movements with predatory precision despite her size. Those teeth, glimpsed briefly, were arranged in 3 rows. A predator species. Young, but designed to hunt. Marcus pulled his medical kit from the cabinet. Basic supplies, synthetic skin, bone stabilizers, broad-spectrum antibiotics. Nothing designed for alien physiology, but better than nothing. The child watched him lay out the supplies, her head tilted, processing. Then she spoke. The words were clicks and chimes, liquid sounds that seemed to bypass his ears and echo directly in his skull. Marcus froze. Universal translators existed, but they were expensive military-grade equipment. He had none. But somehow he understood. One word, perfectly clear despite the alien mouth that formed it. Marcus met her 4-eyed gaze. "Because you needed help. You are prey. I am hunter." "Why?" "I am Zatir, 3rd daughter of the Eternal Throne. You should fear." Marcus started cleaning the worst of her wounds. She flinched but didn't pull away. "But right now you're hurt and scared. That matters more." Silence. Then, "My kind eats yours." "Not today, you won't." He worked quickly, applying synthetic skin to the gashes. Her blood was wrong, too thick, crystallizing as it dried. The bone stabilizer wouldn't work properly on her leg. He improvised with splints and patience. The child, Zatir, watched everything. Her breathing slowed. The trembling eased. When he finished, she curled into a ball on his table, 4 eyes half closed. "You need to sleep," Marcus said. "I'll keep watch."
Oh.
Everyone before Marcus could ask more, she slipped into unconsciousness. Her skin pattern stilled, locking into a configuration of deep purple and midnight blue. Peaceful, Marcus thought, or as close as her species got. He stood guard by the window, watching the rain-soaked streets below. His hand throbbed where she'd bitten him, but he ignored it. Questions multiplied in his mind. How did a royal alien child end up dying in an alley? Who was hunting her? What would happen when they found her here? The rain hammered against the window, relentless and uncaring. Somewhere in the colony, people were searching. Marcus could feel it, the weight of attention turning, focusing, hunting. He checked his weapon. Old habit. The pistol was loaded, safety off. Dawn was 3 hours away. He didn't think they had that long. The first explosion came at 2 a.m. Marcus was already moving before the building shook, scooping Zatir from the table. She woke instantly, all 4 eyes wide and alert. No confusion, no disorientation, pure predator awareness. "We need to move," Marcus said. The second explosion was closer. The lights died. Emergency systems kicked in, bathing everything in red. Zatir's skin flared bright white, patterns racing across her surface. She was speaking rapidly, words tumbling over each other in that strange language that echoed in his mind. "They found me. The rebellion. They'll kill everyone here to get to me. How many?" Enough. Marcus grabbed his go bag, always packed, always ready. Military habits died hard. He moved to the door, checked the corridor. Empty, but he could hear footsteps below. Heavy. Multiple targets. "Can you run?" he asked. Zatir looked at her splinted leg. "No." "Then hold on." He holstered the pistol and lifted her. She weighed nothing. Her small hands gripped his shirt, claws piercing fabric. Marcus ran. The stairwell was chaos. Other residents fleeing, emergency alarms screaming. Marcus pushed through, heading up instead of down. Rooftop access. His escape route, planned years ago and never used. Until now. Footsteps behind them. Fast, coordinated, professional. Marcus hit the roof door with his shoulder. It burst open, rain and wind slamming into them. The roof was a maze of ventilation units and communication arrays. He knew it well. Had mapped every corner during sleepless nights. Zatir was speaking again. They have orders. Kill me. Prevent the succession. My mother cannot know I survived. Your mother? The Empress. Ruler of 300 worlds. She thinks I died in the attack. Marcus processed that while moving between cover. An Empress's daughter. Rebels trying to prevent succession. And he was in the middle of it, armed with a pistol and bad decisions. Perfect.
The first attacker came through the door.
Marcus put 2 rounds center mass without hesitation. The figure dropped. 2 more followed. Marcus fired, displaced, fired again. Zatir clung to him, silent now, letting him work. The attackers were good. They flanked, suppressed, advanced with military precision. Marcus was better. He'd spent 2 decades in the worst conflicts humanity could offer. He knew violence like other people knew breathing. But there were too many. A round clipped his shoulder. Marcus stumbled, caught himself. Zatir made a sound. Anger, not fear. Her skin blazed white-hot. One of the attackers screamed, weapon melting in his hands. "You can do that?" Marcus gasped. "I am Zatir. I am fire made flesh. Good to know." 15 stories down. The neighboring building was close, maybe 3 meters. An impossible jump, especially carrying precious cargo. Marcus didn't hesitate. He ran. The jump was chaos and wind and rain. For a moment they were flying. Then gravity remembered them. Marcus hit the opposite roof hard, rolling, protecting Zatir with his body. Pain exploded through his ribs. Something cracked. Didn't matter. He was up, moving, bleeding. Behind them, the attackers were regrouping. Ahead, the city sprawled in rain-soaked darkness. Somewhere out there was safety. Transport. A way-off world. He just had to find it. Zatir was crying. Not human tears, something that glowed faintly purple in the darkness. "You're hurt. Because of me." "I've had worse." Marcus coughed. Probably true. "Maybe. Why do you do this?" "I am nothing to you." Marcus kept running. His lungs burned. His shoulder bled. His ribs ground against each other with every step. He was too old for this, too slow, too broken by years of war. But the child in his arms was small and scared and dying when he found her. That was enough. "You're not nothing," he said. "You're someone who needed help." That's everything. They disappeared into the rain-soaked city, hunters close behind, death closer. The night was young and full of violence, and Marcus had promises to keep. The safe house was a myth whispered among colony security, a place where questions weren't asked and people disappeared. Marcus had never needed it before, he needed it now. The address came from memory buried deep. Building 47, Sublevel 3, Apartment 221. He'd memorized it years ago, just in case turned out to be a dying alien princess and a colonial rebellion trying to murder them both. Marcus felt his strength failing. Blood loss, maybe? Shock. The adrenaline that kept him moving was burning out. Zatir had grown quiet in his arms, her breathing shallow. Her skin patterns flickered weakly, purple to blue to gray. "Stay with me," he whispered. "Tired." "I know. Almost there." Marcus slipped inside, leaving bloody handprints on the keypad. The elevator descended into darkness. When it opened, a woman waited. She was old, scarred, with eyes that had seen too much and forgiven nothing. A pistol hung loose in her hand, pointed nowhere and everywhere. "Marcus Chen," she said. "Didn't think I'd see you again." "Kira, that thing in your arms just made you the most wanted man on 3 planets. You know that?" The alien child's 4 eyes opened slightly, tracking the weapon. No fear showed on her alien features. Just calculation. Even dying, she was analyzing threats. "Zatir," Kira said softly. "Third daughter of the Eternal Throne." "The dead princess." "Not dead yet," Zatir responded.
Kira smiled without humor. "No."
"You're not. Come inside before that changes." The apartment was sparse. Tactical, Marcus thought. Medical supplies lined one wall. Weapons lined another. Communication equipment hummed quietly. This was more than a safe house. This was a command post. "Put her on the table," Kira said. Marcus complied. His legs nearly gave out. Kira caught him, surprisingly strong for her age. "You're a mess. I've noticed she went to work on Zatir first. Professional, efficient." Her hands moved with surgical precision, applying treatments Marcus didn't recognize. Alien medicine, he realized. Kira had done this before. "How do you know her?" Marcus asked. I know what she represents." Kira injected something into Zathir's arm. The alien child's breathing steadied immediately. "The Empress has 7 daughters, each trained from birth to rule. The succession trials determine which one inherits 300 worlds." "What kind of trials? The kind where 6 daughters die and one becomes god?" Marcus felt cold. "That's barbaric. That's empire." Kira moved to his shoulder, cutting away his shirt. 3 weeks ago, an explosion destroyed the royal transport. All 7 daughters were aboard. The Empress declared a period of mourning. No successor. No trials, just grief. But Zatir survived, which means someone wanted to make sure she didn't. Kira's hands were gentle despite her harsh words. "You saved her. That makes you valuable to some people and extremely dead to others." Zatir spoke, her voice stronger now. "The rebellion wants chaos. No successor means the empire fractures. Worlds burn, billions die. So why target you specifically?" Marcus asked. "Because I was youngest, weakest, easiest to kill." Her skin flashed with anger. "They underestimated me." "You got out," Kira said. "That took skill." "Then I ran. I was hurt. The rain hid my thermal signature. I thought I would die in that alley." She looked at Marcus, 4 eyes full of something that might have been gratitude or might have been predatory assessment. "Hard to tell with an alien species. Then you came." Marcus met her gaze. "Anyone would have helped." "They wouldn't. My kind is feared. We are conquerors. We are the swarm that devoured 100 species before yours discovered fire. You should have let me die. I don't work that way." Kira finished bandaging his shoulder. "The rebellion will come for her. They have resources, information, weapons we can't match. Keeping her alive means war." "You can barely stand? I've fought worse." Kira was quiet for a moment. Then she pulled a device from her pocket. A communication array, military grade and heavily encrypted. "There's another option. We contact the Empress. Return her daughter. Let the Empire handle its own problems." Zatir went very still. "No." "Why not?" Marcus asked. "Because my mother will know I am weak. I failed the trials. I ran instead of fighting. I hid in an alley like prey. Her voice was bitter.
She will be ashamed. And an ashamed empress does not show mercy to failures, even her own blood.
She's your mother, Marcus said.
She'll be happy you're alive. You do not understand Empire. Emotions are weakness. Love is liability. My mother built her throne on the corpses of her enemies and her family. If I return weak, I return useless. Then we don't return you, Marcus said. We disappear. New colony, new identity. You're small enough to pass for human under the right disguise. That's insane, Kira said. The Empire will hunt forever. Let them hunt. Zatir was crying again, those purple glowing tears. Why do you care? I am nothing to you. One life against billions. The logical choice is surrender. Marcus knelt beside the table, ignoring the pain in his ribs. Logic didn't make me pick you up in that alley. Compassion did. And compassion doesn't calculate odds. Probably. Dangerous. Definitely. I could kill you. Right now. These hands could tear your throat open before you blinked. Marcus didn't move. But you won't. How do you know? Stronger than they expect, and you don't want to be the monster they trained you to become. Silence filled the room, heavy with implications. Outside, somewhere in the colony, Hunter searched. Time was running out. Finally, Zatir spoke. What do I do? First you heal. Then we figure out the rest together. Kira shook her head. This is a mistake. But I've made worse. She activated the communication array. I have contacts. People who can move you off-world? It'll take time. How much time? The rebellion won't wait that long. Then we make them wait. Kira's smile was sharp as broken glass. I didn't survive 2 wars by playing fair. Kira called in favors that Marcus didn't want to think about. Weapons arrived in unmarked crates. Food, medical supplies, enough ammunition to fight a small war, because that's what was coming. Marcus healed slowly. His shoulder was usable. His ribs ached but held. He spent hours training despite Kira's protests, rebuilding muscle memory and combat readiness. Couldn't afford to be weak. Not now. Zathir healed faster. Her biology was different, accelerated cellular regeneration, Kira explained. Within 2 days, she was walking. The splint came off. The wounds closed, leaving faint silver scars across her skin. She was also changing. Growing. Marcus noticed it on the 3rd day. She was taller, her proportions shifting. Child to Adallison in 72 hours. It's the stress, Kira said. Her species matures in response to danger. Survival adaptation. How fast? Fast enough that she won't be a child much longer. Zathir spent hours studying everything. Human culture, language, history. She absorbed information like a sponge, asking questions that cut to the heart of things. Why do humans help the weak? She asked once. Marcus considered. Because we remember being weak. Everyone starts vulnerable. Everyone needs help sometimes. My species culls weakness. Only the strong survive to breed. How's that working out? Zatir tilted her head. We rule 300 worlds, and you're sitting in a safe house, hiding from your own people because strength alone wasn't enough. She didn't answer. But Marcus saw her thinking, processing, reevaluating everything she'd been taught. On the 4th day, Kira's contact arrived. A smuggler named Torres, with a ship fast enough to break blockades and morals flexible enough to transport fugitives. You're the package? Torres looked at Zatir with undisguised interest. Worth a lot of money. She's not for sale, Marcus said flatly. Wasn't asking, just observing. Torres grinned. Ship leaves in 6 hours. Suggest you pack light. The rebellion hit 30 minutes before departure. Not subtle this time. Full assault, coordinated and overwhelming. Explosives breached the building's lower levels. Strike teams poured in, moving with military precision. Kira's defenses bought them minutes. Automated turrets, shaped charges, tactical choke points. She turned the safe house into a fortress. But there were too many attackers, too well armed. Go, Kira said, tossing Marcus a detonator. Sub-level access tunnel. It'll take you to the spaceport. I'll slow them down. Come with us. Someone needs to blow this place. Make them think we died here. She smiled that sharp smile. I'm old. I've earned my exit. Didn't have time. He grabbed Zatir and ran. The tunnel was dark, cramped, endless. Behind them, explosions shook the foundations. Kira was keeping her promise, making them pay for every meter. Then silence. Heavy final silence. "She's dead," Zatir said quietly. "I know. She died for me. Someone she barely knew. There's a difference." They emerged near the spaceport's cargo entrance. Torres's ship waited engines hot. The smuggler stood at the ramp, weapon ready, scanning for threats. "Thought you died," Torres said. "Not yet." The ship lifted before the ramp fully closed. Atmospheric engines screamed, pushing them skyward. Below, the city burned. Kira's last gift, chaos and confusion. Zatir pressed against the viewport, watching her almost grave disappear below. Her skin patterns swirled with colors Marcus couldn't read. "I will remember," she said softly. "All of them. What they sacrificed." Good. The ship broke atmosphere. Stars opened before them, infinite and cold. Marcus felt the tension drain from his shoulders. They'd made it. Against impossible odds, they'd survived. Zatir turned to him. She was different now. Taller, older, her features sharpening into maturity. But her 4 eyes held the same vulnerability he'd seen in that rain-soaked alley. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now we find somewhere safe. Somewhere you can be just Jothir, not a princess or a target. And if safe doesn't exist, then we make it exist." She smiled. It was a human expression on an alien face, but somehow it worked. "You are strange, Marcus Chen. Illogical and inefficient and completely unreasonable. I've been called worse. You are also the only person in this galaxy who looked at me and saw someone worth saving." Her hand found his. Small, clawed, alien. "Thank you." Doras interrupted from the cockpit. "Hate to ruin the moment, but we've got a problem. Imperial cruiser just dropped out of FTL. They're broadcasting demands for our surrender and the return of Empress property." "The Empress?" Zatir breathed. "She knows." "Can we outrun them?" Marcus asked. "No. Imperial cruisers are built for pursuit. We jump, they jump, we run, they catch us."
"It's just math." Zathia stood straight, her spine rigid.
Every trace of the frightened child was gone. In her place stood something regal, ancient, terrifying. "Then we don't run, we answer." "That's suicide," Torres said. "No." "That's diplomacy." Zatir moved to the communication console. "Open a channel." "Direct to the flagship." Marcus grabbed her arm. "You said going back was dangerous. Going back weak was dangerous. I am not weak anymore." Her 4 eyes met his with absolute certainty. "You taught me that. Strength is not just survival. Strength is standing for what matters, even when it terrifies you." She activated the channel. Static cleared. A voice emerged. Ancient, powerful, carrying the weight of empires. "This is Empress Zakara, eternal ruler, voice of the swarm. Return my daughter or be obliterated." Zatir's response was calm, measured, nothing like the dying child from the alley. "This is Zatir, third daughter. I am here, mother, and I have much to tell you." Marcus could almost feel the Empress's surprise rippling through space. "My daughter lives." The words carried emotions Marcus couldn't name. "You were dead. The reports confirmed. The reports were wrong. The rebellion tried to kill me. They failed." Zathir's voice hardened. "I survived because someone showed me what true strength means. Not conquest. Not domination. Compassion. Compassion is weakness. Is it? I'm alive because a human saw me dying and chose to help. Despite danger, despite risk, despite every logical reason to walk away. He taught me that caring for others is not weakness. It is the foundation of something stronger than any empire. It is trust." Another long pause. Marcus's hand drifted toward his weapon. If this went wrong, they had seconds to live. The Empress spoke again.
"This human? He is with you?"
"Multiple times. He earned my loyalty and my respect. Bring him to me, Mother." I said bring him, both of you, to the flagship. Now. The channel went dead. Torres whistled low. Well, that went either really well or catastrophically badly. Hard to tell with Empresses. "You don't have to do this. We can still run." "She commands 300 worlds. There is nowhere she cannot reach." Zatir placed her small hand over his. "And I am tired of running. You showed me courage, Marcus. Now I show you trust." The shuttle docked with the flagship 15 minutes later. Imperial guards surrounded them immediately. Massive warriors in ceremonial armor, weapons that could vaporize a city. They escorted Marcus and Jothier through corridors that seemed carved from living crystal, everything humming with barely contained power. The throne room opened before them. It was vast beyond comprehension, designed to make visitors feel small and insignificant. It worked. Marcus had faced war, death, chaos. Nothing prepared him for this. At the room's center, elevated on a throne of what looked like frozen starlight, sat Empress Jakara. She was enormous, 3 times Jothir's size, her body a tapestry of scars and battle honors. 8 eyes instead of 4 arranged in 2 diamonds. Her skin shifted through colors that hurt to look at directly. Power radiated from her like heat from a star, but her eyes were locked on Zothir with an intensity that transcended species. "My daughter," the Empress said. Her voice resonated through the chamber, through Marcus's bones. "My lost daughter. Come closer." Marcus followed. The guards didn't stop him. "You survived the trials," the Empress continued. "Against all probability, against the rebellion, against death itself. How?" Zothir gestured to Marcus. "He found me dying." He chose mercy over protocol, kindness over logic. The Empress's 8 eyes shifted to Marcus. He felt their weight, their terrible scrutiny. One word and he'd be less than dust. "Human," she said. "You saved my daughter. Why?" Marcus met her gaze. Probably suicide, but he'd never been good at submission. Because she needed help. That is all? What she represented. Didn't matter. She was a child, hurt and scared. I couldn't walk away from that. The Empress was silent. Around them, the chamber held its breath. The entire empire balanced on this moment. Then she laughed. It was like mountains cracking, thunder breaking, something vast and ancient finding genuine amusement. 300 worlds bow before me. Billions tremble at my name. And a human soldier lectures me on compassion. She leaned forward. "You are either the bravest creature I have ever met, or the most foolish. Perhaps both." "Definitely both," Marcus said. Another laugh. Then the Empress grew serious. "You understand what you have done? My daughter lives. The succession continues. But she is changed. She speaks of compassion, of trust, of strength through caring. These are not imperial values. Maybe they should be." The guards tensed. Suggesting the Empress was wrong was probably a death sentence. Marcus braced himself. But Jakara was still smiling. "Zothir, you have learned from this human?" "Yes, Mother. I have learned that survival is not the same as living. That power without purpose is empty. That an empire built on fear alone will eventually crumble." Zothir's voice was steady, certain. "He showed me a different path. And you believe this path superior to our way? We conquer but never connect. We dominate but never understand." Zothir moved closer to her mother. "The rebellion grows stronger because we rule through terror. What if we ruled through something else? What if we earned loyalty instead of demanding it?" The silence stretched impossibly long. Finally she spoke. "You have changed. The trials are meant to forge strength, but they have forged something unexpected." She turned to Marcus. "Human, you have altered the course of an empire. Intentionally or not, you have taught my daughter lessons that will reshape 300 worlds. What payment do you demand for this service?" "I just wanted to help. The galaxy operates on transaction, on exchange of value. Those who give without expectation disrupt the natural order." The Empress's smile was sharp. "But disruption has its uses. Zothir, approach." Zothir moved to her mother's throne. The Empress reached down her massive hand gentle on her daughter's head. The gesture was so unexpectedly tender that Marcus felt his chest tighten. "You will complete the trials," the Empress said. "But not as before. You will face your sisters not through combat, but through demonstration of worth. Show me that your new path is viable. Prove that compassion can coexist with strength. If you succeed, you inherit not just an empire, but the chance to transform it. And if I fail, then the old ways endure, and your ideas die with you." The Empress looked at Marcus. "Abi, your human will accompany you as advisor. His perspective will be valuable. I am not qualified to advise an empire. You are qualified to remind my daughter of her humanity, despite not being human herself. That is enough." The Empress's 8 eyes gleamed with something that might have been approval or might have been calculation. "The trials begin in 1 month. Use that time wisely." The audience was over. Guards escorted them from the throne room, through the crystalline corridors, back to a shuttle. But this time, everything had changed. They weren't fugitives anymore. They were participants in something vast and terrifying. Did that actually just happen? Marcus asked once they were alone. Zatir was trembling, not with fear, but with barely contained energy. She approved. My mother, the Empress who has never shown weakness, acknowledged that change is possible because of you. I didn't do anything special. You did everything special. You looked at an alien monster and saw a child who needed help. That simple act just redirected the course of an empire. Zatir gripped his hand tightly. The trials will be dangerous. My sisters will not accept change easily. Some will try to kill us both. I've noticed people trying to kill us as kind of a theme. She laughed, genuine, joyful, so different from that first night in the rain. Will you stay? Help me navigate this impossible task? Marcus thought about his quiet life, his patrol routes, his small apartment. Simple, safe, predictable. Everything he'd wanted after the wars. Then he looked at Zatir, no longer a dying child but not quite grown, caught between worlds, trying to forge something new from ancient foundations. She needed someone who saw her clearly, who remembered she was more than a princess or a weapon. She needed a friend. Yeah, Marcus said. I'll stay. Thank you. Her 4 eyes held his. For everything. For saving me. For teaching me. For believing that something broken can be rebuilt into something better. You were just waiting for permission to be different. The shuttle docked with a diplomatic vessel. They're home for the next month while preparing for the trials. As they walked through the airlock, Marcus felt the weight of what lay ahead. Political intrigue, ancient protocols, 6 other royal daughters who saw Zatir's new philosophy as threat or weakness. It would be dangerous, probably fatal, certainly insane, but Marcus had learned something in that rain-soaked alley 4 days ago. Sometimes the right choice wasn't the safe one. Sometimes you picked up the dying child and damned the consequences. Sometimes you stood against Empire itself because compassion demanded it, and sometimes, just sometimes, that was enough to change everything. Zatir walked beside him, her hand still gripping his. Small, clawed, alien. But also warm, trusting, hopeful. Behind them an empire waited. Ancient, massive, resistant to change. Ahead of them, an impossible future beckoned. Uncertain, terrifying, full of potential. Marcus squeezed Zatir's hand gently.
Ready?
No, but I will be.
She looked up at him, 4 eyes reflecting starlight.
We will face this together, and we will show them that strength and compassion are not opposites. They are partners. They are the foundation of everything worth building. That's a good speech. I learned from the best. Her smile was radiant. You taught me to see beyond what is to what could be. Now we make it real. The airlock sealed behind them. The vessel began moving, carrying them toward trials and tribulations that would determine the fate of 300 worlds. But Marcus wasn't afraid. Not anymore. Because sometimes the universe put broken pieces together in unexpected ways. A human soldier and an alien princess. A dying child in the rain and the person who refused to walk past. Different species, different worlds, different everything. But connected by something simple and profound. The choice to care when caring seemed impossible. That connection would be tested. It would be challenged. It would face opposition from forces that had ruled for millennia. But it would endure, because Marcus Chen had made a promise in a rain-soaked alley, even if he hadn't spoken it aloud. He promised to protect someone small and scared and worth saving, and Marcus Chen kept his promises, no matter how impossible they seemed. Zatir would face her trials. She would confront her sisters, challenge ancient ways, risk everything for a vision of empire built on more than conquest and fear. And Marcus would be beside her, not as a warrior, though he could fight, not as an advisor, though he would counsel, but as the person who remembered that she was first and always Zatir, worthy of care, respect, and compassion. The stars stretched before them, infinite and cold. But inside the vessel, warmth endured, hope persisted. And 2 impossibly different beings prepared to challenge an empire with nothing but conviction and the memory of kindness given when it mattered most. The future was uncertain. The path was dangerous. The odds were astronomical. But the rain had stopped, and in its wake something new was growing, fragile but determined, impossible but real. The Empress's daughter and the soldier who saved her. Together, they would either transform everything or die trying. Either way, it would be extraordinary.